working as a part-time firefighter while having a professional MMA career, beating all the records in the UFC Heavyweight division, most wins in UFC Heavyweight title fights, the longest title defense streak in the UFC Heavyweight division, beating all legends and new prospects in his division, most post-fight bonuses in the Heavyweight division with 9, most head strikes landed in a fight, 330, the most complete fighter in the division, where one mistake is usually the end, where one clip is turning off the switch and the game is over. Welcome, fight fans. MMA Station is here to bring you another epic combat story. It's time to go into the UFC Heavyweight division, where one person took a route nobody managed to take before, the great Stipe Miocic. Miocic was born in Ohio in 1982. His parents were immigrants coming from Croatia. They separated when he was still a small kid, and he moved forward with his mother, who continuously encouraged him to be involved in sports activity. Young Stipe played baseball, American football, and was wrestling for the Cleveland State Vikings, where he managed to compete in the NCAA Division I Wrestling Championship in Kansas City. In his college days, he was also into boxing. After a bit of training, he won the Cleveland Golden Gloves Championship and reached the quarterfinals at Nationals. Step by step, Miocic transferred his full attention to MMA, and in February 2010, enrolling in an Ohio-based MMA promotion, he faced his first professional opponent, Corey Mollis. The fight took 17 seconds, and Stipe booked his first TKO MMA victory. From that moment until Stipe signed with the UFC in 2011, he booked 5 more wins, all of them with KO, TKO, just wiping out everybody, not letting them get to the second round. In October 2011, Stipe Miocic started his UFC heavyweight journey, lining up with American MMA fighter Joe Beltran. After 3 rounds, the part-time firefighter went out of the cage with his first UFC unanimous decision victory. His next 2 opponents didn't finish all the rounds either. Philip DeFries was sent with a KO to the doctor only 43 seconds into the first round. Shane Del Rosario got past the first round and was giving it his best in the second one, but he followed the same path, and in the end, he was TKO'd. Miocic was moving up the rankings, and it was time to fight more experienced fighters. A few months after his last win, he was lined up with Stefan Struve, who had a lot more fights than him, and notably, 3 times more victories than Miocic had. Even though far behind in experience and time spent in the cage, Miocic took advantage in the first round over the taller and heavier Struve. He managed to hit a successful takedown and was working patiently on Struve's body. However, in the second round, Struve pushed the pace and landed a lot of clean shots. In one of the exchanges, it looked like Miocic slipped a bit and was hit badly in the chin, followed by a fast combo that completely switched him off, and Herb Dean needed to stop the fight. This was his first loss in the UFC octagon. After the loss, Stipe fought only once in 2013 against Roy Nelson, who was coming from 3 consecutive first-round TKOs. Miocic controlled the fight and took a unanimous decision win over the unpredictable and tough Nelson, using every opportunity to hurt him and staying away from Nelson's heavy right hand. In 2014, Miocic had 3 fights. The first one in January was against the very dangerous jiu-jitsu black belt, Gabriel Gonzaga. The Brazilian fought all the top fighters in the division and had some great performances, especially the devastating head kick against Mirko Krokop. After 2 rounds of carefully keeping the distance, dominating the boxing exchanges, and defending all takedown attempts, Stipe took Gonzaga down and was very close to a TKO victory, but the time was simply not enough. Another unanimous decision victory for the firefighter, which was moving him up the rankings. In May 2014, Stipe had his second fight of the year against the skilled boxer Fabio Maldonado. The Brazilian decided to push the pace from the first step and was knocked out with a laser-accurate 1-2 combination in the 35th second. Miocic landed his right hand straight to the chin and finished with ground and pound, booking his 12th professional win and taking his 3rd bonus. In his 3rd fight for 2014, Stipe was not able to figure out a way to beat Junior Dos Santos. The fight went all 5 rounds, and he ended up behind on the scoreboard, losing with a unanimous decision from the Brazilian. After this loss, Stipe slowed down the pace and fought only once in May 2015. He was lined up with the heavy puncher Mark Hunt. In this fight, he showcased a brilliant strategy and stuck to the game plan to stay away from stand-up exchanges, and took the giant Hunt down several times, did significant damage, and made him tired. The last takedown was in the 2nd minute of the 5th round, and when Hunt was pushed to the cage, stopped responding to the ground and pound, making the referee stop the fight. A very important TKO win over a very tough and experienced opponent for Miocic, which moved him up the heavyweight rankings. Stipe started 2016 early with a title contender fight against Andrei Arlovski, scheduled in January to determine who would be the next opponent for the current heavyweight champion Fabricio Werdum. After joining the UFC, Arlovski won all 4 fights and was really motivated to move forward and earn his title shot. He went in with striking combos right after the start of the fight, but Miocic came back with a 1-2 laser accurate combo which stumbled Arlovski and let Stipe get the TKO with only 54 seconds after the start. This is how fast Stipe won his place for the Dream Heavyweight title shot. Amazing. A few months later, in May 2016, at UFC 198 in the main event, Stipe Miocic was lined up to fight the champion Fabricio Werdum. Werdum started the fight with confidence and pushed the pace, chasing the contender and trying to finish fast. Stipe managed to defend, and after a minute and a half managed to counter Werdum's attack, which stumbled him for a while, but didn't stop him from pushing forward. One right hook counter from Stipe, however, completely switched off Werdum, and he fell down. A shocking KO win for Stipe in only 2.5 minutes. The heavyweight division had its new king, who also took the Performance of the Night bonus. Next in line was the scary Francis Ngannou. The Predator was tearing apart the UFC heavyweight division, smashing Arlovski and Overeem in the first round of his last 2 fights. 2 KOs, both before the 2nd minute. All this didn't scare Miocic, who spent the full 5 rounds with Ngannou, controlling every part of the fight, taking him down multiple times and staying away from his powerful punches. Winning the unanimous decision victory over Ngannou showcased that raw power can be overwhelmed with the right technique and tactics. Stipe broke the records for the most consecutive heavyweight title defenses and cemented his place as the greatest UFC heavyweight so far. 5 months later, Stipe Miocic entered the epic trilogy with the current light heavyweight champion and probably among the best UFC fighters ever, Daniel Cormier. The first clash of these 2 MMA titans finished badly for Stipe. He started the fight with confidence and moved forward, pushing Cormier to defend. In one of the exchanges, Cormier poked the heavyweight champion in the eye, which dramatically changed the course of the fight, even though the ref stopped the fight for a while, allowing Miocic to recover a bit. A few seconds after the fight was restored, Stipe went in a clinch and didn't see one of Cormier's elbows, which took him down. After a short ground and pound, the ref stopped the fight, and Daniel Cormier became a 2-division champion. It took more than a year before a rematch was organized. Cormier and Miocic stepped into the cage for the 2nd time in August 2019. This time, DC was more confident, and after 4 rounds, everything was set for a 2nd win. However, at the beginning of round 4, Stipe changed the strategy and started to land heavy body shots. At first, DC looked stable, but after a while, it turned out that these body shots caused a lot of damage. Sensing that it was the right direction, Miocic started to land more and more, combining them with strikes in the head, which completely destroyed Cormier's defense, leading to a TKO win for Stipe and another Performance of the Night award. Stipe put his belt on the line one more time against DC, 1 year later, winning the fight with a unanimous decision and putting an end to this epic trilogy. Daniel Cormier was out of the picture, but another man was rising again and was heading towards the heavyweight belt. After the loss from Miocic, Francis Ngannou lost another decision against Derek Lewis, just when everybody started to doubt Ngannou's character, but he came back with 4 wins in a row. winning with first-round KOs against Curtis Blades, Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Ngannou did that in a 2-year period, and only Dos Santos managed to stay a bit longer than a minute in the cage before the TKO. Spending less than 4 minutes for his 4 fights, the Predator was coming back and was ready for his second try for the title. In March 2021, the part-time Firefighter met Ngannou and lost in the second round, passing the belt to the Predator. This time, Ngannou managed to do his homework and won the first round decisively, defending the takedown attempts and landing a few very clean power shots. In the second round, he pushed the pace and turned Stipe's switch off after 52 seconds. After his epic win over the greatest UFC heavyweight of all time, Ngannou defended his belt once against the rising prospect Ciryl Gane and left the UFC as his contract expired and he was not able to agree on the new financial terms. Miocic decided to take care of his family and personal health, staying away from the octagon for almost 2.5 years. After Johnny Bones Jones won the heavyweight title, beating Gane in less than 3 minutes, Miocic was scheduled to face him to try to take his belt back. However, recently Jones injured his shoulder, and it is unclear who will be the next one for the Firefighter. No matter what happens, it is with 100% certainty that Stipe Miocic will be under the spotlight and will present another epic combat spectacle to the fight fans. To be the greatest in the Royal Heavyweight division became a part of his journey, and there is no doubt that fight fans will enjoy his skills and precision in the octagon. And that wraps up another fight story with MMA Station. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. Thank you for joining us on this incredible ride. Until next time, stay hungry, stay passionate, and keep supporting the world of combat sports.